back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and today's video will be my Gold Coast Titans 2023 NRL season preview. So look, already stuck into a couple of clubs now with their season previews, and I'm up to the Titans now, who shape up as an interesting club coming into this year. Obviously a lot of anticipation about foreign Verrills and, you know, the full pack of Fafita, Tino and Verrills and Fermor and all these guys I have. You know, it's actually not a bad sort of build they're making amongst that team, but obviously, yeah, you know, you can't expect too much to happen straight away. But yeah, I think they're on the up, the Titans. I do think there's potential there, but look, we have to wait and see, because we say that about everyone these days. But yeah, no, look, this is my Titans NRL 2023 season preview. As always, gonna keep going through the same sort of way I do with each preview. Start with my best 1 through 17, so that will be happening right now. So see you then. So my best 1 through 17 for the Titans would look something like this. So again, it's just what I believe I'd pick as my team. Not going to go off what anyone else says or what I believe they'll pick in the first place. It's just my personal team, my opinion, and it goes like this. So at fullback, I've got AJ Brimson. On the wings, Jojo Fafita and Philip Sammy. My centres would be Brian Kelly and Aaron Shop. My halves would be Kieran Ford and Tanner Boyd. My props would be Mawaki Fotuaika and Tino Fasu Malawi. Hooker Sam Verrills, and back rowers Dave Fafita and Bo Fermor. And my lock's a bit bold, but I'm going with Sam McIntyre. And on the bench, I've got Aaron Clark, Klesi Haas, Jamin Jolliffe and Isaac Liu as my team. So look, controversial, no Jane Campbell there. Why? I don't know. I think someone big's going to miss out eventually in this Titans team. They have a lot of options, I guess you can say, but I don't know. I think Campbell's still developing as a player, in my opinion, and he can easily be the fullback or jersey 14, but I don't know. At the moment, I don't see him in my team. But yeah, look, I think that's going to be pretty much similar to what they'll pick in the first place, I think. Maybe some changes in the back line, but the forward pack's going to be pretty much picks itself, I believe. So yeah, that's my best 1 to 17 for them. Now on to my strengths for the Gold Coast Titans in 2023. I believe some of their strengths are probably their forward pack, like I probably mentioned before, and how I think it'll be looking like how I predicted it to be. But for a reason, their forward pack is going to be a strength, because obviously you got an Origin Ford and Tino there. You've also got David Fafita, who's an Origin Ford himself, just hasn't found consistency in his performances as of recent, but on his day is a freak. Sam Verrills is going to change that Titans attack. I don't care what anyone says. He's going to change that Titans attack. And coming from the Roosters, obviously it's a downgrade sort of system to go to the Titans, but I think what he'll provide will be big either way. And I also think that another thing as well is that, you know, their back rows with Fafita and Fermor are going to be their go-to point, I feel like. And if Kieran Ford gets some good early ball out today, Fafita, Shop, and potentially Sammy on the other side, or Fafita, Jojo, I mean, well, it's a scary left side if you think about it. Like, I mean, the amount of points, and, you know, look, Foran has a habit of unlocking players through his runs up close to the line and sort of engages defenders, and that's what he did at Manly with when Sully was at Manly. Did that with Brad Parker when he was in the centres, and, you know, kind of got him involved a bit more when he ran up to the line and attracted defenders and tried to do the late pass at the end. So I think if Ford can get some early ball out to Fafita and, you know, get the combination going, then that's a scary sort of thing, I believe, anyway, for the Titans. Yeah, but look, I think they've got some good talent. Like, obviously, I don't think they're that far away from the top 8, in my opinion. Obviously, yeah, they're not the quality quite yet, but I do think that with them, they're building towards somewhere, I believe. And you know, I think looking at that team, their forward pack is probably the biggest strength for me. But I think just having Ford and Verrills improving their spine in the past hasn't been the best sort of spines they've had, but having them two is pretty big. But in general, I'm saying their forward pack's the biggest strength in 2023. On to their weaknesses now, and some of the weaknesses I believe for the Titans are definitely their backline. So I can identify probably a couple of things that aren't great there. Like, I still think there's uncertainties with, like, their fullback and stuff like that. I know it got reported a couple months ago that AJ Brimson will be the fullback, and then they'll go with something like Ford and Boyd in the halves, and Jane Campbell off the bench as jersey 14. Personally, not a fan of that. Like, I'm not a fan of having Campbell as a 14. I mean, it depends on what you really play him, I guess. But, yeah, look, I don't know. They haven't really confirmed their fullback yet, and they're still sort of struggling to find one because, if anything, coming into the new year, you're expected to at least know at least one of your spine players where they're playing. So you'd have to know at least where one of them are playing at best. So, I don't know what Gold Coast are going to do, but they should be picking between Campbell and Brimson, I assume, anyway. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, their centre winger pairing is going to be interesting. Look, I don't know. Brian Kelly keeps playing reserves grade, and then don't seem to be too keen on him. So I don't know why that's the case, but yeah, I'd have Kelly in the centres any day because he's a freakish player on his day. Good ball runner. Yeah, such a powerful runner of the ball. And obviously Aaron Shop, going from the Bulldogs to the Titans will be interesting as well. Signed a 3-year deal there, so I think that has potential, that centre pairing. But again, with the Titans, they're going to probably change a couple of things up knowing them. And the wingers most likely going to be Fafita and Sammy, but there's that young Khan Pereira kid, Alofiano Khan Pereira, who might come to the wing as well. So a bit of a mystery there, but I don't know. I think the Titans they do seem lack some depth as well in the backs, in my opinion. But yeah, look, they're not that far away, but got some issues, of course. Now, on to the club's best signing for 2023, and you have to think it's narrowed down between both Sam Verrills and Kieran Foran. And which way I'm going to go here, it's tough, but I'm probably going to go with Kieran Foran, and there's some reasons why. Well, obviously the Titans did muck up that release a couple of years ago with Jamal Fogarty going to the Raiders immediately to bring up Toby Sexton, which has proven to be a failure so far. But they signed Foz, and Foz is there for the next 2 years. And I will say this, if Kieran Foran continues to be injury-free and continues to be fit, he will be a really good buy for the Titans. I've no doubt. Like, we know what kind of quality he brings to a club. Prove that at Manly. Look, obviously, quality-wise, only at Manly, because at Bulldogs... I mean, at Bulldogs, he had some good moments. He had some good years, actually. Like, 2019, 2020 weren't bad, despite having injuries. Obviously, yes, Eels and Warriors were a failure. But, look, you can't deny Foran's skill and talent, because he's a very good leader, a very good player to play around, and obviously, he'll take a hit for anyone in that team, I think, because... he goes that deep into the line and engages defenders. It's unbelievable. So I think his effort should not be overshadowed. And I think he's their best signing. But I will not argue anyone who says Sam Verrills, because Sam Verrills is probably their best hooker they've had in ages, I think. So signing him was very smart, and he'll be a good pickup, I have no doubt. But I think Foran's the big one, because he's proven on many occasions he's a champion player, a 250-plus gamer as well. So, look, his presence in that team will be big. And I think him and Fafita could form a very lethal combination if they get it going. So, I'm going to say Kieran Foran is their best signing. On to the club's worst loss for 2023. And obviously, they've lost quite a bit of players. But I think the one that I think is going to be the biggest is Greg Marzhew from... now at Newcastle, but was from the Titans originally, and obviously now he's left in a trade deal for Chad Randall, the young hooker from Newcastle who went to Titans. Don't think the Titans won that one, but Greg Marzhew I think is the biggest loss, because he was very good for the Titans in the times he's actually played for them. Like, he's a very powerful ball runner, big winger too, but full of skill. And look, he was actually one of the only half-decent backs, I don't think there's much players in that centre wing area that has more potential other than Greg Marzhew. Like, I know Fafita, Shop, and all these guys have got something to offer, and Kelly, but look, I think Marzhew is just a big loss, because his post-contact meters were big. Powerful winger. Obviously, it's always good to have a big, powerful winger who knows his way to the try line. Got good speed too, and he was dominating sides last year as well, despite Titans struggling so much. So, like, it's a bit of a weird one to trade him. One of the only real good sort of backs I think most people may rate, but whatever they're doing, I don't know. It's interesting, that trade still, but look, I think look, I think he'll be a big loss in the long run, but we'll see anyway. Now on to the Titans' top 5 games, in my opinion, for 2023. So I got the draw right in front of me. I'm going to sort of just look at their draw quickly and then give a top 5. So, yeah, I've already been looking at it a little bit just before I record. But, yeah, no, they've got some interesting games coming up, actually. They play Dragons very quickly. They play Dragons in round 2, and then they play them 4 weeks after in round 6, which is crazy. Round 7, Titans v Broncos at CBA Super Stadium. Yeah, I think it's my top 5 because they always seem to have cracking games at CBA and Suncorp, and it always seems to be very back and forth, and surprisingly, I know there's the big brother versus little brother sort of talk there, but look, recently Titans have shown up, and they're supposed to be the little brother. So what happens here, I don't know, because it's in round 7, but I think that's in my top 5 because I think they're always good matches between them two. And by the way, this is not an order. This is just a random top 5 I've come up with. But number 4, Manly and Titans on round 9, 29th of April, day before my birthday at 4 Pines Park. This will be big because it's Kieran Foran against his old club and at Brookie as well. And I think Foran returning home will get a nice positive sort of welcome in. Because obviously Manly faithful are known for building some players and stuff, but Foran is a club legend, so he'll get some sort of nice feedback. So I think that's big when he does play against his old club, wearing a Titans jumper, very different. Number three, eh? Titans and Dolphins, CBA Super Stadium on the Gold Coast for a Sunday afternoon. Yeah, that might be okay. I know they play each other earlier at Suncorp, but I think this one might be alright because it's live on 9, and I think, seeing guys like Jared Wallace, him and SCSA potentially play against their old club, the Titans, in the Gold Coast at CY Super Stadium will be interesting to see. So yeah, maybe that's another one to look out for. Number 2, well, that's that. I'm just going through the whole draw there. I'm going to say number 2, the other one, probably Broncos Titans again at Suncorp. Like I said, always the games and the quality of them are always fantastic. So probably going to add that in my top 5. And the last but not least, probably going to also add in it's a tough one. You know what? Maybe Raiders and Titans at GIO Stadium 3 p.m. Saturday, because all this talk about David Fifita potentially going to the Raiders in 2024 and his partner maybe following him. It's going to be very interesting, that talk still going ahead by round 18. So I think maybe Raiders and Titans might have potential to be a good game because they usually are. On to the player that has to step up the most, in my opinion, for the Titans in 2023. Actually, there's a lot to pick from because I think there's a lot of expectation. Guys like Kieran Foran to step up in his first year, have the Titans and have all that hype to hopefully lead them to somewhere, I guess, in that sense. But also Sam Verrills as a new pickup will be interesting to see how he adjusts to a lower system. Brian Kelly, I think, is up there too. But the one I'm going to go with Jaden Campbell as the player that has to step up the most in 2023. Why? Because he could potentially lose his fullback spot in the expense of AJ Brimson, probably Brimson. And I think Jaden Campbell has shown before some great potential, but he has had some off games. In 2022, he was very inconsistent, I thought. Defensively, he's still struggling. Might need to put on a bit more kilos, I think. Obviously he's got a lot of good speed, a lot of good ball skill, but I don't know. I think he's losing spot in that team, and the only way to get that spot back and work is work for it, and definitely having to make a statement in your performances this year. So it's not confirmed he'll start for the Titans or make the Titans 1-17. Could be a good chance to play as reserve grade to start the year for Burleigh Bears, I believe, is their feeder club. So look, Jaden Campbell, I rate him, obviously, I do, but he's someone that has to have a big season, because by now, if he was any good, he would obviously be cementing a spot right now at fullback. But look, work in progress with him, obviously. But yeah, he needs to have a big season if he wants to believe he's part of Titans' plans going forward. So I'm going to say Jaden Campbell is the one who has to step up the most. And now on to my final prediction for the Gold Coast Titans in 2023. a very tough team to predict because obviously they can finish pretty low if they're that bad, or they can finish a bit higher this year because of some of the changes they've made and their squad and their forward pack and their halves pairing is looking pretty good if it's Ford and Boyd, and obviously got a good crop of forwards like Tino, Fermor, McIntyre, Liu, and Fodawaker, Verrills. So they're building a good crop there, I believe. But look, I find it hard to trust the Titans yet personally. I know Justin Holbrook's under a lot of pressure, so obviously his job is on the line, and he needs to needs to coach that team to play well going forward. But where I have the Titans in 2023, I have Titans coming 12th. I think that's a pretty reasonable place for a club like them. I think that's the aim, 12th at least, and that's not to finish in the bottom 4. So top 8 would be an overachievement in my opinion, but I think the main aim for them is to avoid the bottom 4 because they seem to finish down there far too often. So I think finishing 12th is the aim, but can they get back to where they were in 2021 and make the top 8? Who knows? But it's a very interesting year that lies ahead for the Titans. But everyone, that brings it into my Gold Coast Titans NRL 2023 season preview. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment what you think about the Titans in 2023. But anyways, everyone, I'm out of here. See you all the next one.